I'm Alicia Davis.
And I'm Trio Springer. And this podcast is a whole bunch of real life. Yes, life as a woman and a mom can be hard sometimes. We totally get it.
We've learned that discovering our unique talents and remembering our potential gives us the ability to tap into our own power, and it's amazing. Plus, it's always better to journey through life with a sis, right?
Right. Sis, you have more power and potential than you realize.
We see you and we believe in you. You've got this, sis. Hey, Trio, what's up?
Hey, you. How's it going?
It's going. It's always going.
I know. We're ready for another podcast this week, right?
Let's do this.
I know. Let's go. So we wanted to focus on service this week. Service and creating unity, and service and celebrating another. And so that's where our heart is today, mine and Alicia's. And we're not going to take a whole lot of your day, but just want to start you out with these thoughts and hopefully lift you and help you feel strong and able to conquer your day today. So, Alicia, do you have an example of service that has been done for you in the past that you want to highlight someone or that created unity in that situation for you?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. Something that always stands out to me are the tiny little things that people do to show that they love me or that I'm valued. And I might be a little sentimental, but I keep a lot of the cards or notes that people give me, and I just keep them in a box. And I think now I have more than one box, but I love when people go to the effort to write a note, either saying thank you or I've noticed this about you and I really appreciate it. And that it means a lot to me. That tiny little service means a lot. And so I always keep those, and I can always go back and read them anytime I need a little bit of a pick-me-up or a reminder when I'm feeling down. And so that there isn't one specific one that I could pick out, because there are lots that I've collected over the years. And I just, that's one thing I really appreciate.
That's neat. I love that you have that collection for yourself.
Yeah.
And it's because of other people's intentions of wanting to share their heart with you about how, something that maybe they noticed about you or something that you did for them, or just highlighting your amazingness, which is awesome, because sometimes just a note of, hey, did you know how this made me feel when you did that? Thank you, can be so valuable. One thing that I want to share with listeners is an example of a time that I was in need and didn't quite know it, because I'm used to doing everything on my own or with my husband. We've always lived away from our families, and we just do stuff. That's us. And my husband had been in Brazil for about a month, doing a study abroad there with the university, and also he was doing some research. I had just finished my nursing program, and I had taken boards while he was gone with 4 young boys. And I also bought a house while he was gone, and I sold the house that we were living in. So that was with his approval in a very Skype way, since he was in Brazil.
A lot, girl.
But yeah, when he came back, we started packing. And I remember talking to my sister, because I usually talk to her at least once a week. And I was just kind of telling her what our plan was. And she said, I'm going to fly out and I'm going to help you move. And I just don't even remember asking for the help. I don't remember being super stressed about the move. But I think she had enough insight to see that was going to be a big move, because we had to do it on our own. So we were getting our own pod and the moving truck and help. And she came out and helped me clean the house, move the boxes, set up what we could in the new house, paint rooms in the new house, like all of these things. And then she flew home. And I know she flew home exhausted and tired and like hurting, because it's not a light job. But that still sits with me today. I think even more so than it did at the time, that's something she didn't have to do. But she chose to come and help me because it was a service that she could give to me. And I just really appreciate that. Somebody being really insightful when I'm caught up in the middle of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It was great.
The thing I like about that is that I think with both of our examples, service can be either, okay, I have to say this, because when we talk about doing service for someone, the first thing that pops up into my mind is hard work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking dinner to somebody, creating a meal, or, like your sister did, flying out, doing work. And I
Right.
think a lot of times when we're like, yeah, we talk about, we should be doing service for each other, it turns into kind of an obligatory thing instead of a joy, because of that notion of work. And
Mm-hmm.
that work is really, it's invigorating work because you want to do it to help somebody else. And I think
Mm-hmm.
also when we're trying to support one another and build unity, sometimes that service doesn't have to be that hard work. Sometimes it can be something like your story reminded me of my little sister. When she was a senior in high school, she was the lead in a play at her high school. And my older sister and I wanted to do a service and support her. And so we flew out to watch her. And my youngest sister has told us numerous times that meant a lot to her. So I think it's really, it's neat that we can pinpoint different ways of serving that unify us in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah. So for me, like that just created a stronger bond in our sister relationship.
Yeah.
But I also want to focus too on creating unity, especially right now, like amongst our communities. And last week in our community, I think everybody is probably experiencing somewhat of the feeling that we have, that's quite a um, polarizing idea of supporting one and maybe not another. And I think that's interesting because that's not how I feel at all. That's not my personal opinion. And that's not how I treat other people. I actually love all people. And I want to support and love all people. In our community, we had a police officer about 3 weeks ago who was serving a warrant to a person, and he was shot.
Oh, wow.
And he has a family, a wife, and 4 kids, I believe, 3 or 4 children. He was 50, and he was doing his job as he always had. And that day, he had a really poor outcome. They took him to the hospital. He got over 130 units of blood, and 2
Oh,
weeks, yeah, it's crazy. But 2 weeks later, they took him off life support and let him go. And I just had this feeling, my neighbor, my good friend, she lives down the street from me. And, we're of different faiths and things like that, but we carpool together. We're moms together. And her husband is a police officer and worked with this individual. And I asked her, I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "Trio, I don't know. I feel numb." And at the time, I didn't quite understand. I thought she meant like she didn't know how to feel in relation to what had happened with his death. But I also feel like she was saying, I feel numb because in the past, when people have appreciated and trusted police officers, it's been a, I would say, a job or employment that is highly esteemed.
right.
And today it's not.
Yeah,
It's like
it's flipped.
one thing happens and it flipped the script. And now she's not sure how to feel. It's very numbing because it's the opposite of being highly esteemed. It's, I don't know if my husband's going to come home at the end of the day.
Right.
And she said she just kind of pulled inward. Like, she stopped posting on social media. She stopped talking to people. And for me, that's not how I want a friend to feel, especially somebody who is serving our community in such a great way. And so on our Facebook page in the neighborhood, I posted that I can make bows. Like, I'm good at making bows. And if people would want me to, I would go ahead and make blue bows to represent our law enforcement, and we can put them on our trees throughout the neighborhood. And my husband wasn't real sure about this. He doubted me. And I thought, it's not a big deal. If people want me to make bows, great. If not, I'm not making bows. Like, not a big deal. You guys, the response to this has been so great that I have probably made near to 100 bows.
Wow.
And I'm still making them. And I love the interaction I had with people when they were coming to pick up the bows, and I kept it contactless for the most part. But a few people have said, thank you so much, or they'll post on Facebook and our neighborhood page, thank you so much. We appreciate what you're trying to do. This is creating unity for us. And that was the goal for me, is to just pull people together and let others that are serving us in our community know that we appreciate you. Thank you. And a blue bow can say that.
Wow, I love that. Are people putting these bows like on trees in their yard, or where are they putting the bows?
So the bows are going on the trees in the yard because where we live, the city puts and plants trees like every so many feet along the sidewalks. If somebody has a tree, like one lady was like, my trees are dying. Could I put it on my post on the house? I'm like, yeah. So like wherever they can put the bows, they've been putting them out so that as a neighborhood, we're coming together and showing support for those that serve us and for their families.
It's a symbol. It's a
symbol
of support, but also community unity. Community unity.
Look at what you just did. You coined a new phrase.
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what most of us want, is to feel included, to feel needed, to feel part of a community, and to also help support the others that are in the community. So
yeah. So I think it's important to identify what got me to this point, because I could have easily said, no, people are fine. I don't have time for that. But it was wanting. So there was, number one, a desire. There was a want to be supportive. And I thought, well, how could I go about doing that? I thought about maybe baking cookies, because I had seen somebody do that on Facebook and she had posted it. And I was like, that's a great idea, to bake cookies and take them to the department. But I'm like, maybe not in the midst of COVID, and maybe not in light of what had just happened, because I feel like the need was greater than just cookies. And so I thought, oh my goodness, a color, which we've talked about color recently. Accomplishments, recognizing another sis. Maybe service looks better in color too. Because, the blue bows, I was like, well, I can make bows. I've been making bows since I was in 5th grade. I can make bows. And I can make bows pretty rapidly and also cost effectively.
Well, so for you, it wasn't anything big. It's not a major skill. It wasn't time intensive. It wasn't money intensive. It was just a small thing that you could do for the community.
So 1, have the desire. 2, what's your skill? 3, how do you go about not advertising, but putting your message out,
inviting
in a small space to bring people together? And I honestly just used the neighborhood page. nothing else.
Well, and all it is an invitation.
All it is an invitation, and an invitation that people want.
Right.
And they said to me, I could have made these on my own, but I knew I wouldn't. So I'm like, you know what? I can do it for you.
Yeah.
And one lady's a school teacher. She's like, I'm just so tired by the end of the day. I'm like, I hear you. You need a bow too. Like, everybody needs bows.
That's the next one, Trio. Pick a color and we'll do it for all the teachers.
I know, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Say those 3 things again.
Desire, recognize your skill, and then how can you go about putting your skill to matching it with getting it out in the community.
I love it. So go do something in color this week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that. You got this, sis.
Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts or suggestions for future episodes. Visit us on Facebook or Instagram and be sure to share some of your own personal wins so we can celebrate along with you.
And don't forget to click on the 3 dots below to share this episode with a friend who's on your heart today. Go win your day, sis. We love you.